a little bit about just your manifest experience so far. I know it's early, but
it's early, but
it's been busy.
No, it's been really busy.
Yeah.
So it's been good. Lots of people here, which is good. We announced a product last week, so it's the first time showing it
very
in a while.
cool. Yes.
So SlipLift, which is basically a decoupling of our solution where the robot decouples from a tray to load that into the trailer. So pretty interesting, more applicable for like distribution use cases. So excited about that.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about just Slip Robotics in general, for people maybe that are not familiar, and kind of like where it started and what kind of was the foundation for creating this company.
Yeah, so my background's mostly in kind of supply chain. So I was at Cummins in their inbound logistics, and then at Tesla in factory design. And so, I saw the problem of loading and unloading a lot. Basically we would load a truck for a half an hour, drive it 5 minutes down the road to unload it for half an hour. And, did that 20 times a day in some cases. And so that's a crazy amount of labor for a 5-minute move in the supply chain. So then I actually worked at a startup in the Bay Area where we were building big robots to move around cars in parking garages, actually. And I was like, instead of moving cars around parking garages, we should be loading and unloading trucks, right? And so we started Slip in 2020, raised our first round of funding, and started building robots. And in 2023 is really when we started commercializing with customers. And so we have some great customers mostly in manufacturing historically, because our SlipBot is for loading and unloading trucks, mostly on short haul, high frequency routes. So a lot in kind of just in time manufacturing. This new product that we just released is kind of more the focus for distribution because it lowers the cost of the asset that stays in the truck, which makes it more economical for those distribution use cases that have longer routes. So,
yeah. Absolutely, and I think it's such a genius idea, right? I mean, it's very simple, right? I mean, the beginning,
goal.
right? I mean, it's just like a very large platform, right? Essentially, for people that haven't seen it, but definitely check it out if you haven't. It's very cool. It's essentially it's just a very large AMR, basically, right?
Very large AMR.
Yeah.
And it's it's about 17 feet by 8 feet by 14 inches off the ground.
Yeah.
And that makes it. And it has a huge payload capacity, right? So like our SlipLift product has a 20,000 pound payload capacity, which is for an AMR a massive payload. That allows us to get.
Sorry, I'm late. I bring you a gift though.
Bring me a gift.
I bring you a gift.
Mason here, also from Slip Robotics. Unbox this live here on
unbox it live. We'll see what you got.
All right, let's see what we got here. It's got some bubble wrap, nicely packed. So battery, wow.
You got your battery.
I usually don't get electronic things.
You gotta have the battery.
Good. A remote control. Oh my gosh,
Where's this going?
And then we got
the suspense is killing all the watchers.
Yeah.
Oh.
So what you see there is your very own mini SlipBot.
My very own mini SlipBot. Wow. All right. Let's look at this here. All right, so this is, we were just talking about what it looks like.
That's
so this
what it looks
is perfect,
like.
right?
Perfect timing.
So this is the mini SlipBot here. Oh, wow, it even has like the multi-directional wheels on it and everything.
Omnidirectional wheels.
This is incredible. I love it so much. Thank you very much. This is a great gift. I'm going to put like my dessert on here.
Yeah, there you go.
Deliver it to the table at the end of the night. This is very cool.
Yeah.
So this is essentially what we're talking about here, the SlipBot, right? So this is kind of a replica of what it actually looks like. Right? It's a big platform, so you load your pallets on top of here, right? And then you guys have additional accessories that go on top too. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we can put a rack on top so you can double stack freight that you normally can't, and we can put a bin on top so you can put parcel or loose loaded stuff in there.
Yeah.
So
very cool. So love this, absolutely. Let me put this down here, right? So very cool. Thanks so much for bringing that over.
Of course,
worth the tardiness, definitely. I will say.
Of course.
Nice work. Appreciate it. So Mason, tell us a little bit about your role at Slip. You just came in here.
Mason Cole, I'm the head of sales and solutions here at Slip. So been with the company for about 2.5 years. Was brought on to help commercialize in mid 2023 and help bring the product to the market. So that's what we've been doing the last 2.5 years, and it's been a great ride. It's been a lot of fun, and with the new product launch, it's taken us into some new markets that we're pretty excited about.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about the SlipLift itself, right? Chris was just starting to talk a little bit, and then you came in with this awesome surprise. So, so SlipLift obviously announced last week, right, before Manifest, and you guys are showing it here as well. So, tell us a little bit about, because initially, right, the SlipBot, right? If we got the nice reference actually for the conversation, we have right the robot and the platform are attached, right? And now you're kind of decoupling that with the SlipLift. So I guess maybe tell us a little bit about like what was the challenge that you saw that kind of like led to all right, let's separate these two things.
Go for it.
Yeah, I mean the main challenge is that the places where we'd get good ROI with customers was pretty limited to short haul high frequency routes because the SlipBot stayed on the truck with the freight as it went to the destination. So basically your robot was moving 5% of the time, right, from a utilization standpoint. Now, we could still get really good ROI and do get good ROI with our customers with that in the cases where they're doing short haul high frequency. However, we wanted to make sure we could address other customers with that same 5-minute load and unload that we do with SlipBot. And so that's where SlipLift happened. It's super difficult to make a super high capacity robot that can go over a dock leveler with a bunch of freight and do that in a way where you're not 30 inches tall, right? To handle all the breakover and approach. And so, it took some great engineering to do that, but like I'm super excited about what we've come with, which is a super low profile, heavy capacity.
So to Chris's point, current SlipBot is going to exist, and it still exists because it does what it does well, right?
Sure.
Short haul, high frequency shuttle routes, that's still going to be the better solution. But talking to customers, they say, hey, we love this. Can we look at additional applications? And so that's really where the emphasis of SlipLift and the Slip Carrier concept came from. It's, hey, let's look at middle mile. Can we do cross-dock applications? Hey, we have a regional fulfillment network that the SlipBot in theory is great, but if we can decouple the freight and the payload and the bot itself, there'll be a huge advantage for those customers as well. So, as Chris mentioned, the team went to work and we built a product, and it's actually taken us into some new use cases we didn't really think about at first.
Tell us about those.
Naturally, when you put something new to market, people are going to come up with great ways to use it, right? So one of those is our final mile deliveries. Right?
Oh, sure.
So, off the emphasis, people have always wanted to look at that for box truck applications where, large product that can't ship via parcel in an Amazon truck. They said, okay, well, SlipBot again is great, but when we have 50 trucks going out on routes in any given facility, it's a little hard to justify. So again, when we can decouple that, and now you have carriers on the trucks and a couple of robots within the facility that are able to load those, it becomes a much more interesting use case for that. So that's probably the bigger surprise that I would say with the product launch is how Final Mile has adopted and really looked at it as, hey, this is definitely something we can use in our network right now.
And I think it makes sense, right? Because that final mile, oftentimes you're loading into like a drop trailer, right? And then they're just going to come back the next day, right? So you can bring those platforms back. I'm curious, like in that type of relationship, whether it's final mile for like LTL loads or parcel loads, because you guys have the accessories to be able to do parcels too on top of the platform, like. How does who owns the robots, I guess, in that sense? Like, do both parties own their own, or is there like kind of a mutual relationship? How does that work?
It depends on the customer, right? Everyone's a little bit different. For us, it doesn't really matter who we're actually contracted with. What we want to do is capture whoever's in use as a party of operations, so that way we know that we can train that staff and how the product works. But ultimately, it just really depends on the customer and what their relationship is. Most of our contracts are multi-party anyway, because a lot of our OEMs, they have 3PLs that run their warehouses, right? So usually it's going to be multi-party anyway. Sometimes even 3 people involved, with the trucking company being additional parties. So simplest path forward for the customer is how we want to work, and so that's usually how we approach it. But ultimately, we still want to make sure all parties are captured, just so we can make sure that training and everything else is associated with anyone that's using the product.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's fantastic, and I love to see how you all have evolved over time, right? And I think the SlipLift makes so much sense as like kind of the next iteration, right? The next evolution, and still having that alongside the original product too, I think makes sense as well. So now from like a bot utilization, right? Does this now kind of like reduce the number of robots maybe you need to like implement like the Slip platform throughout like your whole kind of ecosystem?
Yeah.
In some applications, yes. Right.
Yeah.
So like, and that's the not typically in the applications where we've deployed SlipBots,
Sure.
because in those applications, like they are high enough frequency where you need a more expensive SlipLift at the
Yeah.
same quantity to do it. Whereas the SlipBot is really good in those. SlipLift, because you're decoupled, you basically need the number of carriers that you would need SlipBots in that new application, right?
Yeah.
And so now, fortunately, you can have a little more flexibility because you can have a couple extra for peak demand in an easier way than you can with SlipBots, right? From a cost perspective.
Yeah, a good example that I like to use is think about a hub and spoke model, right? You have a main distribution center, and then you have regionals that are going to distribute to the different parts of the country. So your high volume site is where most of that throughput's going to happen. Whereas if you were to use SlipBots and you're distributing to 15 different sites, the ROI starts to break a little bit because of how many bots you're going to have in circulation, right? Where in reality with SlipLift, now each facility has a bot or two that's going to essentially allow the throughput to still happen, and then the tray and the carriers are what's going to scale in the network itself at a much more economical price, right? So you can kind of touch these larger networks overall, where again, short haul, high frequency, SlipBot's still going to be the main product that we're going to lead with there. It's going to be these multi-nodal type networks where it starts to scale a little bit better from an economics perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's fantastic to see kind of everything that you're enabling within the space, right? And obviously, making it super easy for the user to be able to do that. Tell us a little bit about, because I think you upgraded the remote and the user interface too. Somebody from your team commented on that on my post, so I'm like, oh, let me ask him about that. So tell us a little bit about that, because just like you guys gave me the remote here for my own mini SlipBot, you use a remote, right, for the larger, for the real SlipBots here, right? So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so ultimately, we want the user experience to be simple, right? Anyone should be able to learn how to use the product in less than a minute. And that's why we do these kind of demos at trade shows like this, because we want to show the effectiveness of how that works, right?
Yeah.
I always compare it to driving a forklift, right? Driving a forklift is not necessarily easy. It takes a while to get good at it, and it takes even longer to get good at loading a truck, right? So we want to completely eliminate that to where anyone can actually utilize the product. And so with that, we've kept user interface in mind, and so we want the controller to be as simple as possible to use, right? Especially in today's day and age, most of the work generation have grown up playing video games. We want it to almost be that similar kind of experience,
True,
right? To where the controller will only let the operator do things that are safe and possible, right? So that's essentially what we want to do for the operator itself. But what we've updated with the new products is the ability to select, hey, I want this bot to go under this tray, and we have additional software releasing later this year that'll actually allow users to control multiple bots at the same time. So additionally cutting down additional time of handling the product itself, which will save just additional time on the dock.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and just real quickly on that too, so right now we are autonomous in and out of the truck with the controller, right?
Right.
You tell it to enter, it lines itself up and goes into the truck. It's same thing with the tray now.
Yeah.
So you basically tell which tray, it's going to line itself up and go under that tray. So there's so those hard things where there's really tight tolerances, those are autonomous, right?
Yeah.
But then you keep the flexibility around the dock with the remote control by being able to tell it with the remote control where you want it to go.
Yeah.
And we wanted that dynamic control intentionally because, as you know, the dock is a dynamic environment. It's never going to be.
It can get a little wild.
It's never ever going to be the same. So we want operators to have that adaptability and that ability to control the product, use it where they want it and how they want it.
Yeah.
But automate the challenging parts, right? So that's really what we want to shoot for.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love to see the continued evolution of Slip and the different use cases that come out too. Like, I think, mine is always like spinning with how could it be utilized too. And I love the SlipLift evolution as well. So looking forward to jumping over the booth and seeing it in person. And we'll certainly get some video for everybody of that too as well. So Chris, Mason, definitely appreciate you coming over to the booth and talking to us, and absolutely appreciate this mini SlipBot. This is probably like this has got to be like one of the coolest gifts I've gotten. So
if you're at the show, stop by. We're giving those away, but you gotta participate in something, and we'll be handing them out.
Oh, there you go. If you're watching, you're gonna be here at Manifest. Go to their booth, and you may have a chance to get one of those yourself. So appreciate you guys coming by. If people are not at Manifest, what's the best way to learn more about Slip?
Our website, SlipRobotics.com. We just updated our website, so all the new product and features. It's a lot more interactive. You can actually build the product specific to your use case. So we have a configurator there, and ultimately, if you want to reach out, there's ways to do that. And someone from our staff will reach out and see if there's a good application fit.
All right, fantastic, and thank you again for my gift, and thank you for coming by the booth. And have a great rest of your Manifest.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
All right, have a good one, guys.
Thanks a lot.
Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning into today's video here on our YouTube channel, the New Warehouse Podcast, and I appreciate you tuning in. If you liked what you saw, make sure you subscribe to our channel, and if you like this video in particular, make sure you like it as well. And if you want to get this great t-shirt that you see in the video behind me, Warehouses Are Sexy, head to warehousesAreSexy.com and get your own.